Imagine standing in front of a sleek, silver supercar. It's parked in your driveway, and the keys are being handed to you for free. It's fast, it's futuristic, and it's a status symbol that says you finally arrived at the big table. There's just one catch. The transmission has a habit of exploding every 5,000 miles. The specialized oil it requires costs more than your monthly mortgage. And to fix the custom carbon fiber body, you need a team of engineers that live 3 countries away. Is this a gift, or is it a financial trap designed to sink your savings? In the world of high-stakes naval diplomacy, this isn't a hypothetical scenario. It's the exact dilemma facing several nations in Southeast Asia right now, including Vietnam. The supercar in question is the U.S. Navy's Littoral Combat Ship, or LCS. To the untrained eye, the LCS is a marvel of 21st century engineering, a ghost ship designed to dominate coastal waters with terrifying speed. But inside the Pentagon, these vessels have earned a much more cynical nickname, the Little Crappy Ships. After spending billions, the U.S. is retiring them decades early, essentially looking for someone, anyone, to take them off their hands. Now the rumor mill is spinning. Could Vietnam be the next operator of these rejected American titans? On paper, it looks like a massive leap forward for the fleet. In reality, it might be the most expensive, free gift Vietnam has ever been offered. Welcome back to Minh Quân Story. Today, we're peeling back the stealth coating to look at the gears underneath. We're talking about the LCS, the reality of excess defense articles, and why in the world of geopolitics, the most expensive thing you can buy is often something that costs nothing at all. Let's comment on the news differently. To understand why we're even talking about the LCS in Vietnamese waters, we have to look at the current maintenance headache facing the Vietnam People's Navy. For decades, Hanoi's naval backbone has been built on a foundation of Russian steel. From the stealthy Kilo-class submarines to the Gepard-class frigates, the relationship was simple, reliable, rugged, and relatively affordable. But as of 2026, that foundation is showing deep cracks. Between international sanctions on Moscow and the shifting priorities of the global arms market, Vietnam finds itself at a strategic crossroads. It needs more ships to secure its vast exclusive economic zone, and it needs them now. Enter the United States. In June 2025, we saw the arrival of the CSB-8022, the third former U.S. Coast Guard Hamilton-class cutter at Cam Ranh International Port. It was a clear signal. The U.S.-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership isn't just about trade, it's about hardware. But while the Hamilton cutters are 50-year-old workhorses, the Littoral Combat Ship is a different beast entirely. According to reports from Defense News and Jane's, the U.S. Navy is currently offloading dozens of these vessels through the Excess Defense Articles, or EDA program. These ships are young, some have less than a decade of service, and they are packed with high-end American sensors that would theoretically give Vietnam a massive edge in maritime domain awareness. The offer is tempting. The U.S. wants to clear its docks of a failed experiment, and Vietnam wants a blue water presence that can stand up to regional pressure. But as the saying goes, there is no such thing as a free lunch, especially not one made of high-grade aluminum and complex water jet propulsion. The central question isn't just, can Vietnam get these ships? It's, can Vietnam afford to keep them floating? If you look at the Littoral Combat Ship on a sunny day in San Diego, it looks like the future. It's low profile, fast, and carries a modular promise, the idea that you can swap out weapons like Lego bricks. Need to hunt submarines today? Plug in the sonar module. Clearing mines tomorrow? Swap it for the robot sub package. It was a brilliant dream, but as Defense News has pointed out repeatedly, the reality was a logistical nightmare. The modules took weeks, not hours, to swap. Worse, the Freedom variant, the one with the traditional hull, suffered from a catastrophic flaw in its combining gear. It's the maritime equivalent of a high-performance engine that shreds its own transmission if you push it too hard. For Vietnam, this is the first major red flag. According to a 2024 Congressional Budget Office report, the annual operating cost for a single LCS is roughly $70 million. To put that into perspective, an Arleigh Burt-class destroyer, a ship with 10 times the firepower and actual missile silos, costs about $81 million a year to run. You are paying destroyer prices for a ship that, in its current state, lacks a long-range punch. And then there's the aluminum problem. The Independence variant is a trimaran, a 3-hulled beast made of aluminum to save weight. It's incredibly fast, but aluminum and salt water are natural enemies. Jane's Defense Weekly has documented galvanic corrosion issues, where the hull literally begins to dissolve if the electrical grounding isn't perfect. Vietnam's coastline is beautiful, but it is also hot, humid, and punishing. Does the Vietnam People's Navy have the specialized dry docks and high-tech welding teams required to keep an aluminum hull from disintegrating in the East Sea? Finally, we have to talk about survivability. In a high-intensity conflict, the LCS was designed with Level 1 survivability. In plain English, if it gets hit by a modern anti-ship missile, it isn't designed to stay and fight. It's designed to let the crew escape. For a navy like Vietnam's, which operates on the doctrine of resolute defense, a ship that costs hundreds of millions of dollars but can't survive a single hit is a difficult pill to swallow. So why would Hanoi even consider it? Because of the eyes. While the LCS might struggle to take a hit, its sensor suite is light years ahead of the aging Soviet-era radar currently patrolling the coast. According to CSIS, the true value of the LCS in 2026 isn't its guns, its ability to act as a networked scout. But is a very expensive scout what Vietnam needs, or is it a luxury it can't afford to maintain? Here is where we move past the technical specs and into the real-world strategy. In my view, if Vietnam accepts an LCS, it shouldn't be seen as a new flagship for the Navy. Instead, it should be viewed as a high-stakes classroom. There's an old saying, "Don't buy a house for the view if you can't afford the roof." On the surface, the LCS offers a stunning view. It's a symbol of Vietnam's rising status and its deepening bond with Washington. But the roof, the maintenance, the specialized training, and the logistical tail is where the danger lies. However, there is a counterintuitive logic here. Vietnam's military has spent decades mastering the art of making do with what they have. They're experts at keeping aging Soviet hardware running long after its expiration date. If, and it's a big if, Hanoi can negotiate a deal where the US provides the training and a steady supply of spare parts as part of a long-term security package, the LCS becomes something more than a ship. It becomes a bridge. Operating an LCS would force the Vietnam People's Navy to modernize its entire logistical chain. You can't fix a Freedom-class turbine with a hammer and a prayer. You need digital diagnostics and precision engineering. Forcing that evolution across the fleet could be worth more than the ships themselves. But let's be honest, in the choppy waters of the East Sea, prestige doesn't stop a maritime encroachment. A ship that spends 60% of its time in a repair dock is just a very expensive piece of coastal art. My perspective, if Vietnam takes the LCS, they should follow the Hamilton model. Strip away the overcomplicated combat systems, repurpose them for the Coast Guard, and focus on what the ship does best: speed and presence. In geopolitics, sometimes the best way to use a white elephant is to turn it into a very fast, very visible sheepdog. Now we reach the heart of the LCS gamble. If the ship is fragile, expensive, and lightly armed, why is it still the most talked about potential transfer of 2026? Because in modern naval warfare, the most dangerous weapon isn't a missile, it's a data link. According to naval news reports from late 2025, the US Navy has pivoted. They aren't trying to make the LCS a brawler anymore. Instead, they've turned it into a mothership for the unmanned revolution. In exercises like AUMX 2025, the LCS acted as a floating command center for swarms of underwater drones and surface vessels. For Vietnam, this changes the entire equation. Imagine a scenario in the East Sea. Vietnam doesn't need to risk a $400 million frigate to monitor a sensitive reef. Instead, it sends an LCS. The ship stays back, outside the range of gray zone harassment, while its drones, many of which Vietnam is now producing domestically following the massive 2025 UAV export deals with South Korea, do the dangerous work of filming, tracking, and identifying intruders in real time. This is the strategic twist. The LCS isn't a ship, it's a cloud. If Hanoi integrates these vessels into a shared data network with partners like the US or Japan, they gain something far more valuable than a 57mm gun. They gain a digital shield. Any encroachment on Vietnamese sovereignty wouldn't just be seen by a lonely patrol boat, it would be broadcasted in high definition to the global community instantly. But this digital shield comes with a geopolitical price tag. To make an American ship talk to Vietnamese satellites and Japanese drones, you need a level of strategic trust that goes beyond just buying hardware. It requires a fundamental shift in how Vietnam manages its four-nose defense policy. The climax of this story isn't about whether a hull will crack or a gear will fail. It's about whether Vietnam is ready to trade its traditional, isolated fortress mentality for a seat at the table of networked security. The LCS might be a failed ship for a global superpower like the US, which needs to fight across oceans. But for a nation like Vietnam, defending its own front yard, this reject could be the very thing that drags its naval doctrine into the 2030s, provided they don't go broke trying to keep the lights on. So, we return to the original question. Should Vietnam take the keys to the billion-dollar supercar? In the high-stakes game of maritime defense, there are no easy answers. The Littoral Combat Ship is a paradox, a masterpiece of technology, and a monument to over-engineering. It offers Vietnam a shortcut to modern naval prestige, but it demands a level of maintenance and a shift in doctrine that could bankrupt a smaller defense budget if not managed with extreme caution. Whether Hanoi decides to bring these ghost ships into the fleet or stick with more traditional rugged corvettes will tell us everything we need to know about Vietnam's strategic path for the next decade. Are they ready for a high-tech, networked future, or is the risk of a white elephant simply too high to ignore? But now, I want to hear from you. If you were a strategic planner for the Vietnam People's Navy, would you accept these ships for free, knowing the maintenance costs? Or would you rather spend that same money on 3 new reliable Russian or Dutch-designed corvettes? Is a scout in the water worth more than a brawler in the shipyard? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one of them, and the debate in our community is often as sharp as the analysis itself. If you found this deep dive helpful, hit the like button and share this story with someone who loves military strategy as much as you do. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a chapter of our ongoing global story. I'm the voice of Minh Quân Story. Thank you for watching. News told differently. We'll see you in the next one.